Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Loom, Portent of the Vale. This is a game by Shield Dice Studios. They are on DriveThruRPG and they have been doing a lot of role-playing game tools and supplements. Now, Jay from Shield Dice Studios was kind enough to send me a work in progress version of the game. It is currently on Kickstarter at the time of recording. I think it's on Kickstarter until June the 29th, 2023. So if you like what you see in this video, if you like what the game looks like, how the game plays, pop on over there and back the Kickstarter. It has already funded. They're now working on the stretch goals. The link will be in the description below. Now also, while you're looking down there, don't forget to like and subscribe, would help me a lot. Right, let's get on with this. Now, the game that I have in front of me here is not the final version. It is a revised version. The first version that I was sent wasn't the easiest to understand how to play, but I've been communicating with Jay and we have a revised version now, which is a lot better, both to understand in terms of the content and everything else. So I like it. Spoiler alert, I really like this game. So in a nutshell, what is it? Well, this is a solo adventuring game, very similar in overall scope and feel to games like A Torch in the Dark, which I have featured on this channel. Follow the link. But it also has a theme, a story, which also draws me to the Souls-like games. It's not, the game mechanics design itself is not necessarily Souls-like, like another game I featured on the channel, Rune, link up here. But the theme, the background, the story, the narrative definitely makes me feel like I'm playing a game like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, you know? It's got that kind of dark, grimdark fantasy feeling. Also, Jay did say that he had, certain influences when he was designing the game. And you can definitely see that in the design, especially his memories, his love of the ye oldie, text-based adventure games. God, brings back a lot of memories, those things. And we're talking sort of old school gaming, where you have to type in commands, like Zork. I mean, if you're my age, everyone's played Zork. AI Dungeon, which I think is a more modern version, and one that I played absolutely hours on, The Hobbit. I think it was a 1982 release. Oh, I spent many, many hours on The Hobbit. But you can see the influences from those text-based adventure games in the design here. So what do you get? Well, you get a 46-page document. Again, this is the work-in-progress version. It may have more, it may have less with the final version. It includes rules, it includes the story or scene generation, it includes tables and forms that you need. And you're also going to need 3 dice, 2 for kind of rolling things like combat, and then 1 for sort of monitoring your location. You will also need a pack of cards. Now this is another alchemy pack that I have that I will be using for this game. Very pretty, very nice cards. You're going to need a pencil and eraser, and that's it. It is a print and play game. You print out the document and the forms that you need and you play. Inside these 46 pages, there are 5 pages of rules. There are 4 difficulty levels. Now I've played this game, I think 3 times. 2 at the lowest difficulty, and I found it a bit too easy. I moved up 1 level and yeah, I died. But there are actually 4 different difficulty levels, so there's a lot of challenge there. There are also 30 different possible endings. Now, what we will do in the second video is we'll actually play through the game. Playing through the game does actually take a while because there's a lot of narrative to read, a lot of story to read through. But what I'll do is I'll do a gameplay and I will kind of skip sections so we don't end up with a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour video. But you'll be able to see how all this works with possible endings and things that happen in the gameplay video. Now, what I would like to do first is actually read. Like I say, there is a lot of text in here because you're creating a story. But I'd like to read the intro first because that will kind of give you what the designer wants you to read first. So yeah, here we go. Bonk, bonk. Page rules 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. That's all the rules. That's all you need to learn how to play. So let's read the designer's intro. Loom is a solo text-based adventure game. Using a map and character sheet alongside procedurally generated paragraphs, you will explore a dark and twisted world of fantastical horror. Weave your own story as you play, find rare items, uncover hidden secrets, and use your command list to interact with the world. Command list is here, this thing here. What else is there? Okay, with nothing more than playing cards, dice, and a pencil, you will generate and play through a story of longing, defeat, and of a broken world. Your goal is to uncover the secrets of the Vale and undertake a pilgrimage from the southern monastery to the second monastery up north. On your journey, you must protect the Vale's inhabitants and attempt to solve the mystery of the Nocturne. Yeah, it's a very dark setting. A lot of evil going on, a lot of magic going crazy. And as you play the game, you're actually developing and uncovering the story. It's not telling you, the setting background in a lot of detail. Where when you create a character, it does give you a little bit of background. But as you play the game, you're actually going to uncover much more of the story. And when you get to the endings, there are 30 possible endings. You're also going to find from those little bits of secrets, of lore, and things that are going to happen. Now, Shield Dice is also planning on developing and releasing an RPG setting based on the Loom universe. And the good thing is that it is not, and I repeat, not just for 5e, 5th edition. It's going to be system neutral, so we can use it in any role-playing system, something that we need a lot more of, especially with what's been happening recently with Wizards of the Coast. Now, I haven't bound the game yet. Normally I bind these games, these books, but since this is still on Kickstarter and there can still be some changes, I've just put it inside one of these clear folders for the moment, for this video. When the final version comes out, I'll have it all bound up and nice, and I'll play it again. Now, anyway, let's get back to it. Now, character creation is very simple and fast, and then you follow a sequence, a game sequence. Let me show you. So, you're going to start down here. Your character sheet includes your character details plus a square map grid. So what you'll do is you'll use one of the dice to plot your location on the map. Now, every time that you move, you have to count down on your dice. So when you start, you have your dice here at 6. The first time you move into another square, you have to rotate the dice to a 5. The next time you move, you rotate the dice to a 4. Now, why is this? Well, when you do enough movement and exploring that the dice goes down to 1, you have night and you have to make camp. And there is a a part of the game that focuses on the campsite and the nighttime. Once you've accomplished that and everything else, when you move to the next square, the dice goes back. It goes back to the 6 and you have that countdown again. But essentially, the sequence of play is you move into another area or location. You draw a card to tell you what location or what scene is there. So the cards are only used to generate locations or scenes. That's all they're used for. Everything else is pretty much just using the dice. So we get a Jack of Hearts. Excuse me. You will check in the book for the Jack, Queen, King, 9, 10. You'll check for the card thing. So Jack of Hearts. Jack of Hearts here. So once you've got this location or this scene, you then have to roll dice on a sheet, which is called the word input table. And you'll create a unique paragraph for your story, because what will happen is that there are keywords in the paragraph that you have to randomly generate. So every time that you play the game, even if you draw the same card, the paragraph will be the same, but maybe the location, the building, the foe, the NPC, the smell will be different. So you're actually creating a slightly different story every time. And this is one of the things that I haven't seen before, so I think what makes this game a little bit unique. So once you've done that, you then need to conduct at least 2 commands in the area before you can move to another area. Now, commands are, in terms of how it looks, the way it's been done, we have that text adventure influence, where you used to type in commands, go north, attack troll with sword, that sort of thing. And you have these basic commands here where you can attack, evade, hide, assist NPCs, search buildings, search for tracks, pray at shrine, forage, roll bones, and flee area. And you have to do at least 2 in each area before you can move to the next. Like that. And then what you'll do is you'll rinse and repeat, doing this a number of times until you either die or you reach the other monastery, the North Monastery. And at that point, you have to generate which ending. What ending to your story do you get? And again, there are 30 different endings. So again, every story, every game could be very different. Now, of course, this game does contain a lot of different enemies, NPCs, and locations. Again, you can see here on the word input table, there are a lot of possibilities in terms of variety, in terms of content, even though each card has their own paragraph. What is within that paragraph is going to be changing every time. Really good. Really, really good. Now, all of this we're going to see as we play the game. What we're going to do in this video, now that we've had a quick overview of what's going on, is I'm going to show you how to simply create a character. I say simply and not quickly because there will be story reading. I'll be reading a whole bunch of text to generate the story as I'm creating the character. And again, early warning, during the gameplay, there will also be a fair amount of reading as we progress in the story. So that's just a very quick overview of the game. But like I say, as we create the character, as we play the game in the gameplay, things will become a lot more obvious, a lot more transparent, and you'll be getting a much better idea as to why I really, really like this game. Right, okay, so let me show you character creation. Right, let us create our character. I can show you what the different elements on the character sheet and also the map part means and refers to. And let's create a character now. On the character sheet, it's actually split into two halves. On the left-hand side, this will be your map grid, where you will be moving that dice around as you explore the Vale, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So you'll be traversing here using a dice. On the right hand side, this will be your character sheet and your character information. At the top you have name and your descriptor, which is the Craven, weapon, demiurge, kind of like the deity or the deity that you follow. Sigil is just a little role-playing thing, something to represent your family. You have your inventory space. Now, inventory, you only have 6 slots, but depending on which difficulty level you choose, you may be able to put more than one item in a single slot. I'll show you that later. We've also got a section here for quests. As you're playing the game, you're going to be doing certain commands, certain actions, finding certain things, and here you'll be keeping note because the quests are very useful in case you die. Down the bottom we have a like a hit point location, or it's very reminiscent of the I think it was Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, where they had hit locations and different hit points for each location. So your head and your torso will have 3 hit points to begin with. If it goes down to 0, you die. Your arms and your legs have 2 hit points per location. If those go down to 0, you are what's called maimed, and you get +1 to your challenge modifier. If you get hit on the same location again and it's at 0, you get another +1 to your challenge modifier. Now, what the hell is challenge modifier? Well, up here, there's another 3 boxes, which are not actually part of the map, but they're placed here to use the space. CM, which is challenge modifier. This will affect the difficulty of tasks when you're in certain areas. You've got a P, which stands for poisoned. Certain enemies will poison you if they hit you. That will also increase difficulty in activities that you try to do. And then you have CP. CP stands for Craven points, and these are like, it reflects how how unheroic you are, where you do cowardly things, sort of fleeing, evading instead of fighting. I mean, there are certain things that can happen during the game that will give you Craven points. Now, in terms of the actual game itself, they don't have any effect, but they will have an effect at the end when you get to select which ending. The more Craven points you have, the more likely it is you're going to get a bad ending to the story. Finally, at the bottom, we have these boxes to put down our Portent points, because there are places on the map that have these little eyes, like the eyes of Sauron. When you go there, you get to generate a portent, like some kind of message, some kind of spiritual awakening happens, and you uncover a part of the truth. And you have to roll on a table. I don't think I've printed... I think the table's in the book. I've printed some pages out separately because I'll be using these quite a lot. So the command list, the items, the word input tables, and also cheat sheet. I'll be using the cheat sheet. So these are actually printed out in addition, but everything else is in the book. Everything else is actually in here. But the portents actually have, let me find it. It's near the end, I think. Portents, yeah. So the portents, you actually roll a d6. So you roll the dice in order, and it gives you different things that happen, different messages, different truths that sort of come about. And you make a note of which kind of portents you gain. And again, these will help to determine which ending you get. Remember, there are over, I think is it 30? There's 30 different endings at the end of the game. So a combination of your portent points, the number of portents you get in different types, plus your Craven points, determines how your story will end. Right, let's get on with this. So, to begin with, we go back to the how to play section here. I do apologise for the brighty shiny. It's in a plastic pocket at the moment. Right, we had the intro earlier in the video. So it says here, part 2, game setup. First, you need to name your character on the character sheet. Okay, we can do that. So we are going to name our guy. We're going to name him. What should we name him? Barnaby? Sounds a suitable name. So we have Barnaby the Craven. Right, so we have our name. Barnaby the Craven is going to be our character. Right, next we have to fill in our health points. So again, come down here to this diagram here. It has a hit location diagram. Again, I think it was Warhammer Fantasy roleplay that had something similar to this. Right, so we have to fill in, there are 6 boxes we have to fill in. So the head and the torso start with 3 hit points. And the arms and legs start with 2. There you go. Armor, if you find any armor, if you equip any armor, the armor value goes in here. Now, the next thing we need to do is to select a difficulty. There are 4 difficulty levels. Novice, which is the easiest, Trail Guard, Veteran, and Unholy, which is the hardest one. Now, I have played 3 games so far. I played 2 games at Novice. It wasn't that difficulty, but my Craven points got really crazy and gave me a bad ending anyway. I did 1 game at Trail Guard and I died, but that was just due to bad dice rolling. Every time I was rolling a location for when I got hit, it was in the head. It just kept hitting my head. And the trouble is that with your head or your torso, when it gets to 0, you're dead. So there are 4 difficulty settings. I think I'm going to go with Trail Guard, which is the second level for this demo, for this gameplay. So we're going to be doing the Trail Guard. Now, in the difficulty settings, it then tells you, you have, okay, in here, distribute 4 points. Oh yeah, this is another thing. After I was recording the first part of this video, the overview of the game, I got a message from from Jay, the designer. And he was like, the game's too easy. The game's too easy. I'm making it harder. So he's actually changed. In the time since I recorded the first part, which was this morning, to this afternoon, where I'm recording this part, this part has now changed. It's got harder now. So, Trail Guard. Distribute 4 points across your command list. Maximum of 3 for a single command. Right. So here we have this command list. And this is essentially the kind of actions that you can take when you are dealing with each location and the foes and the buildings and everything else that you encounter. Now, some of these commands have a set value in terms of modifiers to the dice roll. So evade and flee foe has a +4 modifier. That's standard. Hide and observe is also a +4. Down here, rolling the bones, where if you find an item referring to bones, you can actually roll the bones to kind of do some divinity and get some sort of godly bonus. And flee area. Now, normally each location you have to do a minimum of 2 command checks, whether you are attacking, assisting NPCs, searching. You normally have to do 2 per location, but if the difficulty is going to be too high, if it's going to be almost impossible for you to do and you don't want to take the risk, there is an option to flee the area, but you get +4 CP, Craven points. So it's a cowardly thing to do kind of thing, and the game reflects that by giving you Craven points, which is more likely to give you a bad ending. But yeah, so at different difficulty levels, you get a different amount of points to begin with. At Novice, you're going to be getting 6 points to put here where you want. At Unholy, you're only going to have 3 points. So I'm using the second difficulty level, which is Trail Guard. So I'm going to have 4 points. I can put a maximum of 3 in any one command. So I think I want to have a decent attack. So I've got 4 points. So I'm going to be giving myself a +2 in attack. I'm going to give myself a +1 in forage, which is useful to find sort of common items, lower level items, which are very useful at times. And I've got 1 point left. Pray, assist, search. I think I'm going to give myself +1 to assist NPCs. So 2, 3, 4 points. So these are modifiers when you have to make the dice rolls, which we will see when we play the game. Right, so that's done. What's next? Challenge modifier cannot go below 0. Now, for the novice, it can go below 0. Challenge modifier is like an overall modifier to the difficulties of your dice rolls. You don't want challenge modifiers, let me put it that way, unless they're negative. So it can't go below 0. Items of the same type only use a single inventory slot. So yeah, this is what I mentioned just now. For inventory, you have 6 slots. At higher levels, at higher difficulty settings, you can only carry 6 items. But at the lower difficulty settings, novice and trail guard, the same item you can have in the same slot. So for example, if you've got 3 of the same item, you can put it in one slot and put ×3. Okay, so that's that done, e.g. bandage ×2. Quest points are counted on successful and unsuccessful rolls. So this goes back to this area here, the quests, the things that you're doing as you're playing the game. And like I mentioned, this actually is useful if you die. What else? Begin with 3 Craven points. So we'll put 3 here. Now, I want to try and get rid of those. Because like I say, the higher the Craven points, the worse your ending's going to be. So that's one of the things we have to try and find or gain, is a way to reduce the Craven points and to reduce the challenge modifier. And of course, to get rid of poison. If it hurts. It all hurts. So with the difficulty settings and everything done, what we now need to do is go to the beginnings, where we're going to actually start the story and fill out the rest of our character. Now, bear with me, we've got a bit here to read to set the background, to set the scene and everything as to what's going on. Right, Barnaby the Craven. The Vale of the Quintet Monasteries is a holy site, thought to be the birthplace of the son of the cosmic demiurge Osseous Vir, who created the dimensions of sleep. The Quintet Monasteries were built atop the ridges of the Vale in honor of this nameless smith, a son who is said to repeatedly reshape the realm of nightmares with a hammer forged from moonlight. The Vale mutters to the world, its winds yawn quiet words of hope, and its forests birth zealots and saints alike. You are the Craven, a dishonoured knight forced into monastic servitude. Your days of desertion are over, the flames of a terrifying war long extinguished. The pagan hordes were vanquished by the armies of the basin, but scattered legions still linger in the fog-strewn recesses of the Vale, drawn to its old secrets. You shall cleanse these lands with sword and spirit. Having been retrained in the arts of the holy trail guard, a Craven's quest is one of pilgrimage between the monasteries of the Vale, keeping an ever-watchful eye on the horizon and defending those areas darkened by the Nocturne, a magical night song of pagan witches. Rumours of a rift have arisen, and those of the hamlets of the Vale now take shelter beneath the crested roof of your monastery. Only a journey across the Vale can determine if these rumours are nothing more than maddened mutterings, or if indeed the melody of the Nocturne pours forth abominations. Go, Craven, go find the signs of ruin, onward unto night and seek the looming portents. Dun dun dun! Alright, that's the background. We have to basically travel from one monastery to another, aiding, fighting, searching as we go. Now, what does it say here? Begin. And again, you'll notice in the design of the actual game, in terms of the sort of artistic design, it's very similar to the old text-based text-based adventures that we used to have on the computers back in the day. Right. What does it say here? Begin. You stand before a chained receptacle. It contains the tools of your trade. Now, to begin the game, you have a choice of 3 weapons. Heathen's Bane, which is a sharp weapon. It has the symbol S. You have Bitter Knell, which is a blunt weapon, which has the symbol B. And Falcon's Folly, which is a ranged weapon, which has the symbol R. Now, S, B, and R are the types of damage or the types of weapon, and in the journey, in the game, you will find foes who have a weakness towards certain weapons. So you may come across an enemy, a foe, that has a weakness against sharp weapons. If you have the sharp weapon, you get a +2 combat modifier. It says here you can actually choose and name your own weapon of your own design and give it the relevant type or the relevant trait, sharp, blunt, or ranged. Now I think I'm going to choose, what should I try? I'm going to choose the sword. A worn steel longsword. This chipped blade was once used in a holy war and is said to have been wielded by the founder of your monastery. The black markings along its fuller spell out an old prayer of forgiveness, very fitting for you, the Craven. So we're going to write up here, Heathen's Bane. Heathen, make sure I spell it right. Heathen's Bane. And it is a sharp weapon. So in this little box here, we're going to put an S. And again, any foe that I come across that has a weakness against sharp, I'm going to be getting a +2 to my roll. Right, so that's that done. Right, what's next? Open the monastery doors. Again, see the little, looks like the little type command. Okay, you place your palms on the towering oak planks, and with your full weight, heave the doors outwards. A gust of fresh air washes over you, causing you to shiver, and then it subsides. All is still. The gardens of the monastery grounds are long void of flowers and visitors. You breathe deep and whisper a prayer to your chosen demiurge. So which deity do I think I want to follow? We've got 3 choices. I haven't, in the 3 games I've played so far, it hasn't really mattered, I don't think. But I think there are certain occurrences, certain things where your choice of deity or demiurge does play a factor. So we've got Osseous Vir, the devourer of the dead. Nihil, the formless who forms. And She, the vigil, watcher of worlds. I think I'm going to go with Osseous Vir. Just because he seems to be the boss. Osseous Vir. Okay. What's next? Let me move the book. Right, what's next? Next is open your pack. Okay, so we open our backpack. You open the small satchel that hangs at your side and take from it the mask of your holy order. Bump, bump. The iron veil of the trail guard is said to inspire courage, though you have yet to feel its power. You strap it to your face, your breath warm and now louder to your ears. As you close your satchel, you notice another item within. This item reminds you of your old life before your toil of penance, and a life before the war that gave rise to your shameful title of the Craven. So choose your old profession. Now, there are a choice of 4 previous professions, things that you did before the war. And each one will give you a different starting item. Now, I have found the remedial herbs. Let me move this up a little bit. I have found the remedial herbs, which you get if you choose healer, to be extremely useful because Remedial herbs are the things that you use to get rid of poison. And I've been encountering quite a lot of poison in the game so far. So I think I'm going to continue in that vein, and I'm going to select healer, which will give me remedial herbs. So I'll write that in items. So that's the first item. Now, if I find another remedial herb, I can put here ×2, because the difficulty level that I have chosen allows me to have multiple of the same item in the same slot. Okay, let me just check. There we go. Right, next. What does it say next? Exit the monastery. Okay. So you're creating your character as you're sort of starting the story. It's very, very interesting. You step out into the grounds of the monastery. The doors close behind you with a shudder. The monks within, shadowed beneath their robes, shuffle to the windows in order to watch you leave. As you pass through the gardens, you notice your horse. It lies rotting beside the stables. Whether it died of the wound caused by a pagan's arrow buried in its flank, the cold, disease, or all combined, you do not know. The frozen ground is much too hard to bury it. From this distance, you can just make out your perished family's sigil. It is stitched into the flag you used to cover the mare. So now we have to choose our sigil. Now we do actually have a space on the character sheet where we can draw it, but we also have to select a sort of type, its meaning. There are, again, I'm sorry about the glare. There are 10 different options, and these are also reflective of the portents that we can find. I think I will select, which one shall I select? Again, I'm sorry about the shine. I think I'm going to select, let's go with truth. Truth. So now I'm just going to do a quick little sigil here. 1 second. There you go. something simple and sweet. Okay, so that's my sigil. What is next? And we are doing truth. That's going to be the meaning. What's next? What does it say next? Sorry about the glare and the sound of my squeaky chair. Okay, what's next? Leave the safety of the grounds. The air is even colder beyond the walls of the monastery grounds. Scant baubles of snow drifting here and there. You hear the deep voices of the monks singing at your back, resonating outwards into the valley as if foretelling your fate. Do they sing in prayer for your safety or their own? Your boots crunch the frozen ground as you step into the sallow dawn. Several silhouettes of pagan corpses swing from an old oak nearby. The sweet rot of them reaches your nose. Your weapon and your burden feels heavier now. You pull your cloak much tighter. Distant peaks rise into the starry cosmos, the sun a pale and withered thing beyond. Every so often the mists part and reveal swathes of jagged timberline, the black bows like doorways to the realm of the dead. You are sure you can hear the mystical piano keys of the pagan's Nocturne calling to you, drifting on the icy breeze, daring you to enter the Vale. This is where we have the dramatic music. And oh my God, I'm terribly sorry about the shine. But yes, we are now ready to go. Ready to start the game. We have created our character. We have remedial herbs as an item. We've done our hit points. We've got no armor. We've got our weapon. We're ready to go. So now what we would do is follow the sequence that I mentioned before, where we place a dice in our starting location and we start moving. But that, my friends, is going to be in the next video. I think a game like this it's going to be much more interesting for you to see how the game plays through gameplay rather than me explaining all the little bits and pieces. So, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video, gameplay. I'll include a link up here, but also in the end screen I'll include the link. Right, guys, thank you very much. Again, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon. Next video, Loom, Portent of the Vale. Cheers.